Hi there, good evening everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So we have finally gotten our answers from Jay for several follow-up questions that we had from the Friday interview. So he's been gracious enough to provide answers to several questions. So let's go ahead and look into those. Okay, so the first answers that we've got here, let me just do it over here, actually. Okay. So there were several questions I asked him. The first one, if SPX drops significantly again, will Ulti also drop significantly? And why is there such downside risks with Ulti? He said, yes, most likely Ulti will drop again significantly. Even though there are puts, we don't put them, no pun intended, very close. We don't put them on very close to the money. We don't put on the puts very close to the money. Ulti has higher downside and upside potential because of the stock selection that deliberately looks for volatility. And he did mention that these are often rotated and changed. So let's see, we've got Chuck on. Welcome, United Lift LLC. Oh, look at that, a lift company. Uh, what are your thoughts on buying put options on these high ETFs? I can see selling puts for premium, not on the ETFs necessarily, but on the underlying stocks. Feed the Family says, let's go. All right, so that is answer number one. Oh, SPYI, I could see doing that. I mainly do them, like I've made a fortune again today on NVDL, which I'm not even bragging about today. I'll do a separate video, but let's just say I made like 50,000 in the market today between NVDL and SMCX. I just cashed everything in and I'm going to roll it. I may actually feel foolish for doing that because NVDL and SMCX kept rolling even higher after I bought back. But my plan is actually to to sell more of them, to open, to sell more puts when there's a pullback. And who knows, it could come as soon as tomorrow. Anyway, okay, so next question. Thoughts on assets under management for YieldMax's zero date to expiration funds versus Roundhill? Are you seeing an increase and do you expect it to catch up? Why or why not? And this is referencing the Roundhill zero date to expiration funds that were created March of 2024. YieldMax put out their own counterparts more recently, and there's a big difference in assets under management. He says, not sure really why the YieldMax zero date to expirations aren't seeing more attention. They have a higher yield and in many periods outperform Roundhill. It might be that we don't advertise like they do. So that's certainly a possibility. And so question 3, and I think we have about between 10 and 15 of them. What do you say to someone nearing retirement who plans to rely on YieldMax for stable income with minimal NAV erosion? Can they? Does YieldMax fit the financial freedom movement? For example, can someone make reliable dividends without losing a significant chunk of their principal? His answer, the math here is simple. If the distribution of the component funds exceeds their total returns, YieldMax NAV will decline. That doesn't mean it is losing money. The investment return includes the dividends. Total return has to be the way to assess these, and that's what we do on Seeking Alpha when we look at total return. I would not bank on a 50% total return on any fund. That doesn't mean the dividend will drop, but NAV will have to. And then thus the dividend drops because it's based on a lower NAV. If you have 100,000 and YMAX pays weekly dividends that annualize to 50% for the next 10 years, do not expect to be able to pull out 50,000 per year every year. This is not how these work unless YMAX can average total returns of 50% per year. So let's read that last part again. He said, I would not bank on a 50% total return on any fund. That doesn't mean the dividend will drop, but NAV will have to. If you have $100,000 and YMAX pays weekly dividends that annualize to 50% for the next 10 years, do not expect to be able to pull out 50,000 per year every year. That's important. That's not how these work unless YMAX can average total returns of 50%. So a lot of people, they do math based on, hey, this is paying 50%. Wow, I can retire on this because this is going to last forever. Hey, look who it is. It's Glenn. Long time no see. How have you been? Don't buy Tesla. Well, I wish I got that note like 2 years ago. That would have come in handy. We got a thank you. All right, perfect. Comments are rounding out nicely. By the way, we hit 500 Discord members, so kudos to the community growing. And this last J video, I don't want to brag too much, but it's my best video ever. So I was the channel is like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Let's just say, we were, I don't know, we were like on death's doorstep there. It feels like, and now we are back in business. So not to be too dramatic, but very happy with how things have turned around. Okay, next question. Thoughts on doing 1.25 or 1.5x leveraged funds for higher yield with 50% invested in the underlying or some similar mix? We haven't filed for anything like this at YieldMax, but others are, like Defiance, MST, for example. And remember, Jay is also involved with Defiance. He's part of the like advisory or something. So we'll also have to have Sylvia back on pretty soon. So Defiance's MST is a leveraged long plus income MSTR ETF. Let's just, I guess, look at this one real quick just to illustrate what he's talking about. Let's see. We've got United Lift LSC. Can you post a link to your Discord membership? It's in every video. Was it not in the last one? Because it's in every one of them. Ralph Beans is on. Why does the stock go up and down daily? Is it more buyers than sellers, or more sellers than buyers, or is it what they make in option trading, or is it both? Well, typically when stocks move, it's general supply and demand. So that's that. But when these funds move, it's typically, yeah, how the trades are going, you know, whether they won or lost the majority of the trade, whether, as I say in my own trading, if they got most of the meat off the bone, so to speak. Next dividend, I'm planning on doing an actual dividend estimate that includes a little bit more in-depth analysis than just the magic 8-ball. Okay. Oh, here's MST really quick. So let me do, I'm liking this YouTube live here. Let me see. I want to do a screen share. And we've got the chat over here. It's perfect. Where are we? Manage. Oh, right in the middle. The best place to hide something, folks, is in plain sight. Okay, so MST 1801. This one came out in April. So we're already seeing NAV erosion of like $3. But if we go to dividends, let's see how this one's doing. Dividend history. It's got 623 followers, almost as much as my Discord. Joking. And it pays weekly. 33 cents here, 26 and a half, 26 and a half, 28, 27. So its biggest dividend actually came like 2 weeks ago. So it's on its 5th dividend. So that's what Jay's talking about. If you want a YieldMax or somewhat related fund that he's somewhat involved in, you would have to buy this one. All right, next question. Let's go over here. Stop sharing. Okay. All right. So when would you actually implement the new strategies defined in the prospectus for MSTY, and what would cause it? This is the big one, folks. This is like the holy grail of the questions here. The audience really likes the idea of minimizing NAV erosion. I threw that in there. There are no plans for it, and even if we did, this will not impact NAV decay. Interesting. These tactics have virtually zero impact on the fund performance and pricing. Why would anyone think this impacts NAV performance? Well, we'll have to follow up there because he had not only me, but like half of YouTube fooled on that one. So we'll have to follow up with that one. So just to go over that one again, because that's like the bread and butter of what we talked about, the new strategy that they did, which I thought was going to possibly eliminate or at least stabilize NAV erosion, Jay's saying has no impact on NAV erosion. He said there are no plans for it, meaning the new strategy, and even if we did, it will not impact NAV decay. These tactics have virtually zero impact on the fund performance and pricing. Why would anyone think this impacts NAV performance? Wow, that's kind of a shocker. Let's see what you all have to say. Video is blank. Am I back? Am I back? Can you all hear me? Let me do this. Okay. How long was it out? That's kind of scary. Did you all get the last answer at least? If not, I can go over it again. Ralph Bean says, United, marry me. United Lift says, Jay, I'm holding 1.25 million. Oh, shoot, marry me first. I'm holding 1.25 million worth of SPYI, so I thought I would use 10% of my dividend premium to buy put as an insurance policy. Wow, 1.25 million in one fund. Oh, he said yes. Wow. I don't think it's yes to that question, though. Yes, we did, but go over it again. It seems important. It really is important, Mr. Beans. Let's see here. We answered that one about stock going up and down. So this is important, okay? On basically the bread and butter of what we talked about. When would you actually implement the new strategies defined in the prospect for MSTY, the prospectus for MSTY, and what would cause it? The audience really likes the idea of minimizing NAV erosion. I threw that part in there. There are no plans for it currently, and even if we did, this will not impact NAV decay. These tactics have virtually zero impact on the fund performance and pricing. Why would anyone think this impacts NAV performance? So that's really interesting. We're going to have to follow up with him on that one because, like I'm saying, half of YouTube was thinking that was the case, that it was gonna stabilize NAV. Interesting. The camera got glitchy, I guess. And this is a brand new computer. Let's mix it up a little bit. How do you buy the European funds in the US or elsewhere? He said European brokerages, you can check out the YieldMax site for information. Would you consider taking the underperforming funds out of YMAX? The prospectus is pretty clear that we cannot do that. We can change the pro, but right now there are no plans to do so. Would you consider doing an S&P 500 target 20 fund like Roundhill's expat? Seems to produce a fixed monthly dividend payout of 95 cents and projected for full year 2025. YieldMax has the SDTY ETF that gets that exposure and has a higher distribution. That is the S&P product for now. So let's go look at SDTY real quick. So he's saying that they're doing that and they're also paying a higher dividend. So let's review this one here. Half of YouTube doesn't get it. Which half are we in? I guess I'm in between. Let's see. Yes, and he's 100% right. The only did is possibility of the tax liability from not creating the taxable event from rolling the synthetic. Yeah. So sounds like you're in the smart half. I don't know. There's videos all over the place that say this is like the end of NAV erosion. So I kind of jumped on the bandwagon there, maybe too soon. All right, STY, we've got $44.18. Summary, just look real quick. I'm really behind on a lot of these YieldMax funds. So we've lost about almost $6 in NAV erosion since February 23rd. A lot of that has to do with the market as well. Since then, we have kind of stabilized and started to recover. If we go to charting, if we look at select metrics, performance, total return, of course, the holy grail here, we are only down negative 2.76%. Dividend-wise, let's look at history here. Let's check this one. So these are weekly. 22 cents, 22 cents, 21 cents, 26 cents, 27, 24, 27. So if you do the math, because these are weekly, yeah, he's right. They are pretty much paying a higher. So if we take May, for example, if you add all those up, I'm pretty sure those are well over $1. And the dividend frequency. So like in March, we got 4 of them. So let's see, 17.21 cents. That's 38 cents. Plus 31, that's 69 cents. So, and then this is 90 cents. So this is about on par. April, 27 cents, 23 cents, that's 50 cents, 81 cents, 91, $1. So $1.11. So he's right. This one is higher. Most months it's higher. It averages out. If you take it on a monthly basis, it averages out higher. Dividend yield, there we go. Dividend growth. And then, yeah, the holdings are pretty much the S&P, right? Option on S&P 500, 168%. Wow. U.S. Treasury notes, government obligations, so on and so forth. Next one, let's see. Let's do this. Let's look at, okay, versus S&P. Let's do 6 months or year to date. There we go. Okay, so this one, so see, it's tracked very closely with the S&P 500. It's been down a little bit more and widening a little bit, just in terms of price return. Total return, obviously, we get a lot closer. So again, we're just going over the product that Jay mentioned. That's their S&P product for now. For here, we were really close to being even here. So it's great if we can basically keep up with the index and get a great dividend. That's phenomenal. So you all could hear me. It's just that the camera went blank, I guess. We need to bang the drum for them to create a 10 fund, which takes the best 10 funds, rebalances every quarter. Who's with me? I am. I like that idea. Blank again, but we can hear you. It's been 1 minute. The screen is blank. Wow. So I guess when I move over to another screen, it blacks out. Light decay. That must be it. You know, it's funny because you would think a brand new MacBook wouldn't do stuff like this. I would ask, instead of taking underperformers out of YMAX, they could just weight it differently. That's true. That's another good idea. Nav decay. Yeah, the nav decay is translating over to the camera, apparently. And they sent me the wrong color. This was supposed to be space gray, but it's like silver. Even though it says space gray on the case. Okay, let's see. All right, that's good. So let's stop the share here. Just look at my face for now. My handsome face. Wish my hair was combed a little bit better. It's messy. Okay, what else? So we went over that one, SDTY. Next question, does any cash generated from YieldMax funds from options trades go into stabilizing the NAV currently? Could it? If not, he said some does. This happens when there are realized gains from appreciation. However, all of the sold premium is distributed in the form of dividends. Next question, about those, for those of you that kept asking about the Circle Fund, and this, I believe, Mr. Kwan asked about this one, and he told us that another company's already done it. So here we go. We'll read off, because I included this after what he said. Is the 1-year rule certain in regards to filing for a Circle Fund? Another company, Bitwise, has already done so in under a year. The folks want their dividends now, LOL. He said, haha, I can't comment on anything we haven't filed, hint, hint. But it seems there might be some changes in the way the SEC looks at that previous guidance. So wink, wink. Get the drift there, huh? Okay, and then we're back to the Misty question. So we answered that one. Now I gave him some kind of harsher feedback from the audience, and he answered those too. So common feedback that we see. Somebody said, my main questions are related to the ending of these funds. Why would they choose to shut down a fund in the future? What happens then? Do you return the NAV? He said, generally, funds simply return the existing NAV back to shareholders in the form of cash. Next one said, oh, he's killing me when he says, we're giving you the full yield and let the investor decide, as if NAV erosion is some kind of liberation. No, if they are boasting high yields, knowing it will kill our NAV and therefore our future payouts, that's called false advertising. Of course, we could reinvest our dividends in order to maintain our principal, but I thought the whole point of this is to take income, not to reinvest it, giving up total returns in the process. Let me check something here. Oh, we got Money in the Bank on. Coney does XDivvy tomorrow. While we are in New York City, we need to corner them, right? How's the camera, by the way? Has the camera stabilized? Even if the nav hasn't stabilized, hopefully the camera has, right? Okay, so we just mentioned the question. Now let's go over his answer. He says, no one knows what will happen to the nav. It all depends on the underlying performance. But as explained before, if the fund has a total return of 30%, but a distribution of 50%, then the NAV must decline by 20%, even though the fund has returned 30% of gains. The returns just come in the form of distributions gained from option trading. No one ever said the whole point is to take income. Never. You choose to do what you want with the dividends. So that's the answer to that one. And then the last question, we kind of had some fun. So Mike was on, and he was asking about Jay's recent weight loss. And I'm actually trying to lose some weight myself. So he was trying to get Jay to give me a weight loss tip. And I kind of started talking over it, and we got off subject. So I said, on a lighter note, some of the audience was really interested in your recent weight loss. My comments interrupted the flow of discussion. They were trying to get you to say what you did. He said, I just cut carbs to be under 50 per day and get my heart rate up for 15 minutes in the morning. Nothing complicated. So there you have it. That's what he did. All right. Well, Jay was generous with his time and the follow-ups, answering all of our questions. I've never seen him like refuse a question, which is really great, really transparent on his part. So anyway, well, folks, thank you all so much for tuning in. I think that's going to do it for us tonight. If you all have any other questions that are really, really good, we can keep on asking Jay. We'll be in New York soon, so we'll probably do another like in-person interview with him. Please remember to smash that like button, join Discord, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the party. We're getting rich, right? Living off dividends and options now, which is funny. So I need to do another video because both I'm getting a full-time dividend income and now a full-time options income. So I'm going to update both of those soon. Not saying any of that to brag. I just want to be able to teach and mentor other people on how to do the same thing because it took me quite a while. It didn't happen overnight. Yeah, thank you all so much. That thumbs up, that like button. Let's see. I live in New York, so make sure you visit. Where are you? You have to DM me. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Take care. Have a good night. See you later. Bye.